Hello, my name is Tarek and I'm a director of Find UK Property. We help clients buy the best investment properties in the UK and then manage and maintain these for them. In this video, I'm going to explain everything you need to know about buying investment property in the UK. Please continue watching right to the end. It will answer all of your main questions in a simple, easy to understand way. And by the end, you will have a clear understanding of how best to invest in UK property. The video is divided into 4 sections. In the first section, I will cover what are the best investment properties in the UK and explain in detail the reasons why. In this section, we will also cover the UK property market in 2023. We will explain how, despite recession, high interest rates, and the slow property market in London and the South, demand and prices for low-cost properties in the North are set to rise as investors and buyers shift from high-cost properties that depend on mortgages to low-cost houses that can be purchased with cash. Investors don't want to leave their funds in a bank account because in terms of real value, their £100,000 will become £80,000 within 2 years. So buying a secure, low-cost property that gives them income and gradually grows in value is a no-brainer. Hence, the demand for such low-cost houses will increase and prices will rise. In the second section, we will talk about the best methods or ways to search for, buy and manage investment property. In the third section, we explain who are Find UK Property and how we can help you, and the reasons why you should use our services. We will explain how we are a fully accredited family business that has helped over 1,000 investors, mainly from London and the South, but also overseas, buy and manage properties in the UK over the last 14 years. In total, our clients currently own over 2,000 properties, which we continue to manage. We explain why the main BBC TV property programme have produced 5 full-length episodes showing how we acquire, renovate and resell investment properties at the lowest prices in the UK. A new BBC episode has been produced in each of the last 5 years. Watching these episodes will give you confidence in our system and processes. The final section, probably the most important, covers all of the actual practical steps involved in the buying process. How to reserve and select a property, get ID documents ready, make payments, deal with legal formalities, get ownership documents and much more, and how we can actually do most of these things on your behalf so you can be a true passive investor and do not need to do anything or attend in person. If you're looking to buy investment property in the UK, then please continue watching this video right to the end, as this will be the most informative 60 minutes you will spend. So why are so many people considering investment in UK property? Well, many investors believe that property in the UK is the best form of investment, as it is a tangible asset which they fully own, located in a secure country and which grows in value and gives good rental income. Paper investments such as shares, bonds, derivatives or pension funds are volatile and do not offer such security. In general, a good investment property needs to deliver on all of these. It needs to be affordable with secure long-term ownership. It should deliver a high rental yield, ideally gross rent of over 8% of property price per year, a net yield of around 6% after all costs and expenses. It should deliver good capital growth in value, ideally doubling in value every 10 to 11 years. It should be easy to select and buy with no serious risks or uncertainties. It should be easy to manage and maintain for the long term with no hassle. And it should be easy to resell quickly should you need the funds for another purpose. So what are the best investment properties in the UK? Is it houses or apartments, student pods or commercial property? Should you buy in London and the South or up north? Get an older terrace property or a modern new one? Get one high-end expensive property or buy multiple lower cost properties for the same budget? Is it better to buy a cheap rundown property that needs a lot of work, or one that is pre-renovated, guaranteed and already rented out to good tenants? What returns should you expect? Which properties are the best for capital growth and rental yields? And how do you reduce risks? We will cover all of these in this first section. We're going to consider 4 key parameters that will determine the best property for investment in the UK. The first question relates to the best price category. We will explain why low cost property is better than higher price property. If the investment budget is larger, we will also explain why it is far better to buy multiple lower cost properties than one expensive property for the same budget. The second question relates to the best type of property. We will explain why residential houses are better than apartments, student pods, commercial or other forms of property. The third question relates to best location for investment. We will show why towns in the north of England, including the northwest and northeast, are actually better locations for investment than London, Midlands or the south. The final question relates to condition and status of the property. We will explain why for most investors, properties that are already renovated, guaranteed and rented out are better than those that are not. We explain how such properties seem more expensive but actually cost less overall when everything is taken into account. In this section we will also cover why rental yields in the UK vary greatly and are better for lower cost properties and properties located in the north, whereas capital growth over the long term is similar in all houses and in all areas, not affected by location or pricing. Let's talk in detail about the first criteria, which is price category, and why low cost properties are better. By low cost in the UK, we generally mean around 65,000 to 120,000. Firstly, rental demand in the UK is at the lower end of the market. This is especially so outside of London and the major cities. Thus, the percentage rental yields are much higher on lower cost properties. A property costing 75,000 will deliver 8% gross yield, whereas a property costing over 300,000 will deliver more rent, but as a percentage, the rental yield is much lower at only 4%. Thus, for a budget of 300,000, rather than buying one big property, you could get 4 lower cost properties, and these would in total deliver double the rent of the one expensive property. Secondly, lower cost properties are lower risk. Whilst over the long term properties grow in value, it is possible for property prices to fall over the short term, for example during a recession. However, lower cost properties which are already at rock bottom prices are likely to fall less than more expensive properties, as there is always demand at the lower end of the market, and such demand increases in a recession when everyone is cost cutting. Also, lower cost properties would allow investors with higher budgets to buy multiple low cost properties, and these could be purchased in different areas, and this will also reduce risks due to diversification. Thus all the eggs are not in one basket. Thirdly, lower cost properties are affordable. That means you do not need to have the risks or the costs of a mortgage. Remember, buy-to-let mortgages in the UK are unregulated and high risk. Your rights are not the same as the mortgage on the property you live in. Instead of getting a mortgage, many investors use their rental income and own savings to gradually increase their equity by buying an additional low-cost property every 2 or 3 years, without any risk or interest costs. This is a better way of investing than getting a mortgage. I will briefly mention mortgages. Currently, interest rates are high and few investors are considering mortgages. We do not do upfront mortgages, and all of our clients buy with their own funds. Some investors plan to remortgage in the future to release up to 75% of the value of their property in order to get another property. They'll probably do this where interest rates are lower. Please note that such remortgages are only available for UK residents. Clients who were previously considering a mortgage are actually right now saving up, if they can, to around £70,000 to buy their property outright with cash. The message from this slide is that low-cost properties are better for investment. The second criterion relates to type of property, and this slide explains why residential houses are better than apartments, student pods or other forms of property. Demand for commercial and retail property is falling, and our view is that such properties are high risk due to the business rates which have to be paid by the owner even if the property is vacant. In such cases, commercial properties can end up being liabilities. Residential property, which consists mainly of houses and apartments, is better. When it comes to comparing houses with apartments, there are three reasons why houses are better. Firstly, houses are full ownership, freehold or 999 years, which for practical purposes is treated like freehold. In the case of apartments, most of these are leasehold, 99 years or 125 years. Secondly, houses have no service charges or hidden costs. Apartments are located in buildings that have running costs and need maintenance, and there are service charges payable to the building management company, in addition to high levels of ground rent payable to the freeholder. There are also additional costs related to cladding and fire safety in apartments in taller buildings. Such hidden charges on apartments reduce net rental income, and these charges can increase at regular intervals in the future. Thirdly, houses deliver better capital growth than apartments. The track record for houses over the past 70 years is that they have on average doubled in value every 11 years. Capital growth on apartments is less due to the terms in the leases, and certain student pods actually go down in value as there is no resale market. Thus the message from this slide is that residential houses are better than apartments. Now most houses in the UK are old, with 80% being over 80 years old. Older houses can in fact be better and more solidly built with real stone and natural slate, and can paradoxically be longer lasting than newer houses. The most popular houses for investment, priced around £65,000 to £90,000, are 2-bed or 3-bed terraced houses, which are located in streets such as these, where all of the houses are in a row with free street parking in front. Larger houses with gardens and low-cost semi-detached houses priced below £120,000 attract good long-term tenants and are also good for investment. 60% of the population of the UK live in 2-bed or 3-bed terraced houses. About 40% are in the rental market and 60% are owner-occupiers. As you enter a typical house, there is a lounge and dining kitchen. Larger houses have 2 lounges, which can sometimes be joined together in an open plan way, and there's an extension kitchen. Most have a rear yard leading to the back street. Upstairs are 2 or 3 bedrooms. There's also a 3-piece family bathroom. Semi-detached houses have open space to one side of the house and may have front drives and large rear gardens. These cost more, but are also good for investment as they are popular amongst families looking for long-term accommodation. The third criterion is location. Towns in the north of England are better for investment than London, Midlands or the south due to these 3 reasons. The first one relates to capital growth. Now clients think that capital growth on houses is better in London and the south and is better on more expensive properties. This is not true. Although growth may happen in spurts, on average the long-term capital growth rates on houses in all areas of the UK and all price points are remarkably similar. This chart of the UK shows the average annual housing growth over the past 70 years. On average, houses have doubled in value every 10 to 11 years, and the average annual increase has been just over 7.5% in almost all areas of the UK. Many people do not know this astonishing fact, and when I tell people, they do not initially believe me. As an example, I can tell you that the average price of two-bed houses which we sell today for £70,000 here in the north was just around £500 in all of these areas over 70 years ago. At the same time, similar two-bed houses in London were selling for 5 times the price, for £2,500 each. After 70 years, these houses in London are selling for £350,000 each, compared to £70,000 here, still 5 times more expensive. So over the very long term, the average capital growth rates in both areas have in fact been very similar, around 7.5% growth per year. Over the short term, however, there can be differences in growth rates, and our view is that percentage capital growth in the next 10 years is likely to be higher in the north than the south, and this is the first reason why north is better. After a period of recession, the northern towns in the northwest and the northeast are now booming economically, with falling unemployment, increasing population and rising housing demand. Investors are switching from south to north, and prices here are set to double in the next 10 years. Within the north, capital growth rates are likely to be very similar in all good communities. We have properties in 28 different areas in the north, and whilst there are minor differences, the average recent historical growth in property values has been similar in all of these areas. So providing you select a good renovated property at the correct market price in any of these 28 areas, your capital growth rate over the long term will be similar. It is important to remember this when selecting a property and not get too worried about exact location. On any particular low-cost property, the historical past growth rate is not that helpful in forecasting future growth, as it is greatly influenced by changes in the condition, renovation status or development of the property. Thus, the growth in the property showing high price growth in the past 5 years may not necessarily be due to housing capital growth. The property may simply have been bought in a poor condition and was then renovated and resold at a higher price. The second reason for buying in the north is that houses in the northern towns are affordable. And this is the only area where you can still purchase full two-bed houses, fully renovated and guaranteed for under £70,000. In all other locations, prices are much higher. Thirdly, rental yields in the northwest and the northeast are higher. There is a culture of rental amongst working class families and couples, and there is good rental demand at the lower end of the market. This map of the UK shows the average percentage rental yields in all regions of the UK. You can see that gross rental yield near London is only 3% because property prices there are very high, whereas in the northwest and the northeast it is around 8%. Now this chart is different to the chart showing capital growth rates in different areas, which I showed you earlier. The growth rates in all parts of the UK over the long term are very similar, whereas rental yields are always better for lower cost properties and are higher in the north, where there are more lower cost properties. One additional point about location relates to HMOs, or houses in multiple occupation, whereby each room of the house is rented out separately. Such systems can give higher gross yields, but they do have higher management costs and are only in demand in major cities such as London. They also increase the cost of property conversion due to HMO and fire regulations. Outside of London, the demand for HMOs is not high, and it is better to rent the whole property to one family. The final criterion selecting the best property for investment is the condition of the property. Properties that are pre-renovated to a good standard, guaranteed and already rented out to good tenants are better, as you start earning income immediately and have no additional costs. Now, some investors think that it is better to buy a run-down property because it will cost less, then renovate and rent out the property. Now, this can be a good strategy in areas of the country where property prices are high and renovation costs are only a small percentage of the property prices, such as London. In lower cost areas, unless you have very efficient systems for renovation and renting out, this can be a major cost and could be as much as 50% of the property price. So in our view, for most buyers, properties that are already renovated and rented out will cost less overall. And if such properties come with a package or guarantee where all structural issues and repairs are fully covered for the long term, then this will be an additional bonus and allows investors to buy with confidence. One other point to cover is that some customers are not sure if they need the property purely for investment or for possible future own use. Now, our strong advice is that you should treat the purchase as purely for investment, as your future needs will always change. Our experience is that whilst clients can use their own properties, they almost never do this. Instead, if they require own use in the future, they usually rent something that is suitable for their needs at that time, near to their friends and relatives or work, and they use the rental income for their investment property to pay the rent on their own use property. This is easier, gives them more flexibility and keeps their options open. The same applies if you need an own use property for holiday accommodation or for children when they are studying at university. It is best to rent yourself if and when you need a property for own use in the future. So when buying for investment, you should purchase purely with investment criteria in mind. Before we move to the next section, I would like to cover the property market right now in 2023. The underlying trend for UK property is gradual growth as housing stocks are relatively fixed whilst population continues to grow. Over the past few years, the UK has been through many crises, including Brexit, COVID, the war, energy crisis and inflation. Remarkably, these have had no effect on the UK property growth because the underlying demand has been higher than supply. Now, looking at the next 12 months, it is possible that a recession and high interest rates will reduce property prices at the high end of the market and in London and the South. But prices at the low end are expected to continue to rise. The reason for this is that demand is increasing at the low end as clients switch from buying high cost properties on mortgages to low cost properties with cash. As discussed before, in a recession, lower cost properties become more attractive to buyers and renters as they try to cut costs. And we are seeing this. Demand is in excess of supply and prices are set to rise on such low cost houses. And as mentioned before, if you have the funds, then don't let them depreciate due to inflation by just leaving them in a bank account. In terms of real value, your 100,000 will become 80,000 in 2 years. So doing nothing or delaying is a risk. Right now, savvy investors are buying low-cost investment properties, and demand on such houses will increase both from buyers and renters. What I'm saying is that prices for high-end properties and even average properties, which are currently around 300,000, may fall due to recession and high interest rates. However, prices at the lower end of the market for properties around 70 to 100,000 are likely to rise as demand there is definitely increasing. If you're liking this video, please tap the like button and subscribe to the channel and get notifications of further videos. So in summary, The best investment properties are low-cost houses located in the north and are those that are pre-renovated, guaranteed and already rented out. Please continue watching this video. Section 2 will now cover the best methods to search for, buy and manage investment properties in the UK. The first question relates to the property search process. What is the best way to search and choose the specific investment property? We will explain why the two-stage reserve and select method is best. The second question relates to the buying process. What is the best way to legally acquire and buy the agreed property? We explain why the facilitated buying process that is pre-agreed at fixed costs with legal formalities completed properly on behalf of the buyer provides more certainty, speed and convenience. The third question relates to the management method. What is the best way to manage and maintain the purchased property? We explain why the net guaranteed rent system is better than using traditional letting agents and how this system delivers overall better net rent and long-term peace of mind. Let's talk first about the best method to search for and choose the specific property. The traditional open market search method is to search and view a large number of properties on website portals and with various estate agents. This does provide a wider range, but there are too many issues. There are too many factors relating to location and the local tenant base which are impossible for the non-local investor to take fully into account, and it is difficult to decide which properties are best for investment. Two properties that are on the same prices may vary hugely in terms of overall investment returns, rental income and future resale value. Similar looking properties on the same street may vary greatly in price depending on their internal condition and rental status. The properties are not categorized by value and investment returns, and the pricing is not proportional to rent and value. They're not renovated to the same standards and not guaranteed in the same way, so it's difficult to compare. Thus it is difficult to select the specific property and there is more uncertainty and risk. Furthermore, even after selection, there's no certainty of purchase as the seller is not obliged to sell and there's no fixed timeline. There are no preparations for purchase until property is selected and agreed, which can result in long delays to completion. The two-stage reserve and select process is better. It allows you to make a reservation so that you have certainty of purchase, a fixed timeline, fixed price that does not increase as prices rise, and priority access to a list of assessed and rated properties that deliver investment returns and future value proportional to their price. Reservation also allows us to get all of your documents and paperwork ready so that completion can occur immediately after selection. Then normally after a few weeks after reservation, when it comes to your turn, you can select the specific property. You can do this easily because the list is categorized according to costs, size, community, location, and most importantly, rental yield and future investment returns and value. So the list is priced in ascending price order, proportional to the rent value and future potential of each property. It's updated on a daily basis and each client is sent a list of 15 to 20 property sheets. All the properties in the list are brought up to the same standard post-renovation and are fully guaranteed and will be maintained at no extra cost for as long as the client remains a customer. You simply select according to your budget and preferences for location and looks, with the reassurance that any you select will deliver guaranteed rent and future value proportional to its price. The list summary looks something like this. There's a lot of detail and pictures on each property as well. Although there are 8 main categories of houses, there are also many subtypes which are more or less expensive according to their value and investment return. The aim is to price the properties correctly so that all of the properties represent the same value, so the risks of selecting a poor specific property is minimized. Clients could select any from the list that meets their budget and they will be okay. In this selection process, due to demand being higher than supply, there is a reservation waiting list and a gap of a few weeks between stage 1 and stage 2. After selection, the agreement is finalised and final payment worked out depending on which property is selected. The actual selection is done via detailed property sheets that include location maps, street views and property pictures. As the properties in the list may be already rented out or be located all over the north, hundreds of miles apart, it's not practical to make visits during the selection process. The system actually works well for clients and is very efficient. During the COVID pandemic, over a period of 15 months, we sold over 400 houses without property viewings, and all of those clients were satisfied with their selections. If clients are unable to make a selection, they can wait until the next batch of properties. And only once a client is 100% happy with the selected property does they get transferred to them. Now let's talk about the buying process to legally acquire the agreed property. The traditional buying process does involve a lot of uncertainty, as there is no upfront agreement and the seller could pull out of the sale at any time before exchange of contracts. Furthermore, the additional costs of purchase are unknown and can vary greatly. The timeline is not fixed, and investors also need to find a suitable solicitor with local knowledge that does not make the process difficult and long-winded. And they have to attend personally themselves for the legal formalities. The process typically takes 4 times longer. On the other hand, the facilitated legal buying process is better. This means that there is an upfront reservation agreement where the security of the legal transaction can be guaranteed, and all procedures, costs and timings are pre-agreed and fixed. The buyer is kept updated and does not need to attend personally. All parties follow the agreement and legal formalities can be completed properly on behalf of the buyer. There are 3 contractual guarantees on the property which buyers do not get when they are using the standard process whilst buying from other sellers in the open market. These 3 guarantees adequately cover any perception of conflict of interest, as we are helping clients to buy from our own property group. These guarantees make the facilitated buying process lower risk as well as quicker and more convenient. The property guarantee means that there is a long-term guarantee on the property that covers all repairs, maintenance and structural issues. This means that viewings or external surveys that can be costly and delay the process are not needed, as the property is fully guaranteed and will be maintained in a good condition. The buying process guarantee covers any issues with the titles or searches or the buying process. There have never been such issues and there will be none in the future, as all of these items are checked to be satisfactory when the property is originally purchased by our group. However, this guarantee gives clients peace of mind. The 100% money-back guarantee on the transaction applies if for any reason the property is not transferred to the buyer. Again, this will not happen, but is there just for peace of mind. All these guarantees are contractual and form part of the agreement. They enable clients from all over the world and all over the UK to purchase any property with confidence and ease. All the usual checks are made for local searches, titles, ID and money laundering regulations, and when the property is ready for completion, the final payment is made and completion occurs after exchange of contracts. The completion date is the date the client becomes the legal owner under UK law. The clients are sent completion summaries and the process is up to 4 times quicker. The property is then registered at the land registry on behalf of the buyer under the buyer's name. This process can take several months, and after registration the buyer is supplied with the land registry title documents and a registration summary. The buyer can also check their ownership directly with the land registry, which keeps an online owner's register. Part of the facilitated buying process is the option to set up a UK limited company to own the property rather than owning it under your personal names. You can make the reservation under your personal names and then set up the company in the time between reservation and selection. You can do this yourself online with Companies House or use a company formation agent. Now, which is better, personal ownership or company ownership? This will depend on your personal circumstances. The vast majority of our clients, over 90%, use their personal names or joint names to buy such properties. In general, first-time buyers buying their first property and buying low-cost properties, it's better to buy under their personal names, as they will save 3% stamp duty, and they also have personal tax allowance, so any income below that level is not taxed. Those intending to buy multiple properties or on high UK income may benefit from company ownership. This can be discussed at the video meeting as to which type is better. So in summary, the facilitated buying process is best as it provides more certainty, speed, lower risk and convenience. Finally, what is the best way to manage and maintain the purchased property? The net guaranteed rent system is better and provides higher net rent than using traditional letting agents. Now, traditional letting agents may show a higher gross rent, but the net rent you actually get is lower because of many reasons. The net rent, the rent itself is not guaranteed and not paid if the property is vacant or if the tenant does not pay. Estate agents charge management fees, and all costs for repairs, maintenance, tenant damage and reletting costs are deducted from the rent. Estate agents will not take over all of the legal liabilities of the landlord in relation to the safety of the tenant and the maintenance, so such an arrangement is not really suited for owners who are not local. With a net guaranteed rent system, the rent is guaranteed and paid even if the tenant is not paying or if the property is vacant. There are no management fees. There are no property repairs and maintenance costs. The properties are fully maintained as part of this system. And no cost to the owner for as long as they remain a client. There are no other costs or gas certificates or electricity certificates or compliance or costs relating to tenant damage or eviction. The owner can be a true passive owner, and all the landlord liabilities and responsibilities are taken care of at no extra cost. In this system, we effectively become your tenants, paying the owner a guaranteed rent and agreeing to keep the property in a fully maintained and good condition at our cost. Now, in our system, the long-term net guaranteed rent the owner gets is 5% of the property price. In the first 3 years though, as the properties are freshly renovated, the net guaranteed rent is higher at 6% of original property price per year, as our costs are less. After the first 3 years, the net guaranteed rate is 1% lower at 5% of original price. The reason for this is that our maintenance costs are higher and often properties need further renovations as each tenant moves out. However, at the end of each calendar year thereafter, the rent is increased in line with increases in average rents. For example, if average rents over the last 12 months have gone up by 5%, then the net rent will be increased by 5% for the following year. Thus, a client getting about £4,000 per year rent after the initial 3-year period will get £4,200 the following year. After the first 3 years, the owner can terminate the long-term agreement with 6 months' notice if they wish. For example, if they want to live in their own property, in which case we would move the tenant to another property and clean the property, get it ready for the owner to use. However, almost all of our owners continue with the long-term system. We have many clients who've been on this service and guaranteed rent system for over 10 years. The properties still continue to be fully maintained and all repairs are done at our cost, no cost to the owner. So in summary, when it comes to the best method to select, buy and manage properties, use the reserve and select method to choose the specific property. Use the facilitated buying process to get legal ownership. Use the net guaranteed rent system to manage and maintain your property for the long term. Please continue watching the next section, section 3, about our company and why you should use our services to acquire and manage your investment property. It explains who we are, our history, what we do, and how we are able to offer you the best prices in the UK and still be profitable. Find UK and our partner companies, which you see listed here in our main reception area, are part of a family group of businesses that have been selling low-cost investment properties for the past 14 years. And as a family group, we have been established here at this site for over 30 years. In this video, we will cover 5 reasons why investors should use Find UK Property. We will show you how we offer the best investment properties in the UK. Explain our family background and history, experience, reputation and service. Provide details of all of our accreditations. Explain how we are able to offer the lowest prices in the UK and still be profitable. And you can see what other people say about us, including our customers and the BBC. Find UK do deliver the best investment properties in the UK because our properties meet all of the criteria recommended in the previous sections. We acquire low-cost houses in the North East and the North West. All of the properties we sell are pre-renovated, guaranteed and rented out. We offer the reserve and select search method to choose the specific property that is right for you. And we use the facilitated buying process to get the selected property legally transferred to you. And we continue to manage and maintain the property under the net guaranteed rent system. If you do buy a property from us, you are likely to be a client for a very long time, perhaps over 10 or 20 years. And you may end up buying more properties from us. So it is important to spend some time telling you about the background of the people you will be dealing with. With regards to our family background and history, my father came to the UK over 60 years ago and set up in business. This site where we are located, Time Technology Park, is a 26-acre business park which is owned by my wider family. And in the 1990s, this whole site was a huge manufacturing plant producing large desktop computers. Historically, in the 1980s and 90s, our main family business, headed up by 4 of my brothers, was the design and manufacture of computers. We used to manufacture these for all the big retailers in the UK, including Tesco, Asda and others, under their own brand names. And we also made computers under our own brands called Time and Tiny. It was a very competitive market, but we became one of the largest manufacturers of computers in the UK, at one point employing over 3,000 staff. At that time, I myself was doing 2 jobs, training to be a consultant paediatrician at the Manchester teaching hospitals and doing all the marketing for our computer company. Eventually, I had to go full-time into business, but I continued very part-time work, medical work, doing just 1 clinic a week for almost 30 years until my recent retirement from the NHS. Our Time brand was the main sponsor of our home football club, Blackburn Rovers, and during our sponsorship they won the League Cup. But my best bit of marketing was a TV advert I produced with Leonard Nimoy, who was the legendary actor Mr. Spock in the original Star Trek movies. I'm so proud of this ad that I'm going to show you a clip now, even though it's got nothing to do with property. It's a 25-year-old ad from the late 1990s. That's before the internet took off. It was filmed at the Mount Wilson telescope in California and explains how computers can take you to the future, and is based on our main brand, Time Computers, and one of our branded computers which is called the Time Machine. I think it's one of the best computer ads ever made. Here it is.
Space? We've been there. Time, that's the new frontier. Physically traveling through time isn't possible. Not yet, at least. But with a time machine from Time Computers, you can go into the future. Imagine a whole book, encyclopedia, or even a movie on a single disc. And the internet is changing the way the next generation think. In the future, it'll change the way we live, from looking at tomorrow's weather to banking, shopping, entertainment, and even communication. From here, we can see a billion years into the past. With a time machine, you can see into the future. Why buy an ordinary PC when you can buy a time machine from Time Computers?
The advert was great, but the computer market was changing, and all of the computer manufacturing business effectively moved to China. And like many other UK manufacturing companies, we simply could not compete with China and had to wind down the manufacturing and move into services, IT services and property services. My brothers run the IT and internet companies, still based here, and my own family, including all three of my children, now run this family property business, which has been trading now for 14 years. You can see what they do by watching the BBC TV episodes. Rafia is managing director and runs all the operations of the group, heading up the management team. She has a background in law and human resources and joined the group 6 years ago. Sadia is Director of Sales and Marketing. She has a PhD from University of Manchester. She has a research background and joined the family business 4 years ago. Hashim, my son, the youngest member of the family, heads up the buying and letting teams and has been with our group for the past 8 years after completing his university degree and further advanced courses on property. We also have a strong management team, with each manager heading up key departments such as renovations, maintenance, lettings, accounts and general operations. The latest 2 BBC TV episodes feature 2 of our managers, Peter and Adel, who were heading up renovations and lettings at that time. We have over 60 directly employed staff and have 2 main offices, Middlesbrough in the northeast and here at Time Technology Park in Lancashire. All of our key staff, including managers and directors, are fully trained and qualified property professionals. I myself trained fully in all aspects of property when starting this business and was awarded the highest National Achievement Award by the National Federation of Property Professionals in 2012. Over the last 14 years, we have built a base of over 1,000 clients. We have purchased, renovated, rented out and resold over 2,000 such houses, which we continue to manage. And currently we are very busy processing and selling about 40 properties each month. Over 60% of new sales every month are linked to our existing clients. They are either buying more and becoming multiple property owners or recommending us to their family, friends or contacts. Many of our clients are passive investors who are not local and want us to do everything for them. They need us to act as the landlord and take on board all of the landlord liabilities which normal letting agents are unable to do. Our clients include investors from London, Midlands and the South, UK expats living and working abroad, and overseas nationals, many of whom have some connection with the UK. If you fall into any one of these categories, you will appreciate our services as they have been developed for clients just like you. We are fully accredited and are members of the Property Ombudsman Scheme, National Association of Estate Agents, and our lettings business Rent UK are members of ALA, the Association of UK Letting Agents. We follow the Trading Standards Approved Code and are registered with the UK Information Commissioner so that any information on ID you provide to us will be kept secure and confidential. Our staff are also trained in providing tax services and we are an official HMRC tax agent. Customers can have the confidence that they will be dealing with a reputable company that has undertaken to treat them fairly and provide excellent customer service for the long term. Overall, we offer the lowest prices in the UK. Whilst you may see properties advertised at lower prices on websites and with other estate agents, those are not pre-renovated, guaranteed or rented out to good tenants and do not come with a net guaranteed rent system. When comparing prices with online portals and estate agents, please note that previous sold prices are much lower for a number of reasons and not that helpful. Look at the current for sale prices of well renovated properties, not just the lowest prices listed. The lowest priced properties on online portals will have issues, and beware of many hidden costs when you buy from the open market, and know that such properties are not guaranteed like our properties. When you take everything into account, including all of the work you have to do post-purchase when buying in the open market, the overall price you pay for our properties is less. And this is shown in detail on our property markets page on our website. All of the extra costs and services are included as standard with our properties, whereas they cost extra with other agents. We work very hard to buy well, to be very efficient and save costs at every step in the renovation, lettings and maintenance processes, so that we can be profitable but still deliver a very good price overall to our customers. We are profitable because on average we try to make a margin on the property, and overall each year we get higher total rent from tenants than we have to pay out to owners. Because we are efficient, we can offer higher net rent when compared with traditional letting agents. Traditional letting agents show a higher gross rent, but when deductions are made for all of these costs, the net rent is lower than from Find UK Property. Further, our rent is guaranteed, giving you certainty of income and peace of mind. Your property is fully maintained for as long as you remain a client, and we do mini renovations at our cost each time the tenants move. Normal letting agents will never do that. You can see detailed testimonials from our long-standing clients on the testimonials page of our website. All of these clients have been with us for over 5 years, and many are multiple property owners and have also recommended their friends and relatives. We do not promote reviews on external websites. We're not a massive company. We only have just over 1,000 investors. However, we can arrange for clients to speak with existing customers if needed. You can also get further information on who we are and how we work by watching our company feature on 5 episodes of the BBC television programme BBC Homes Under the Hammer. This programme is the most popular property buying programme in the UK, with regular episodes on mainstream television for the past 15 years. New episodes are viewed by about 2 million people almost every day. Each episode shows how we acquire properties and then renovate them to a good standard so that they can be easily rented to good tenants. The BBC followed our progress from initial assessment to full renovation and then valuation by independent estate agents. The BBC liked our all-inclusive model of acquiring, renovating, renting out, reselling and managing such investment properties with full guarantees, and has featured us on these 5 full-length episodes over the past 5 years. You can get all of the BBC video links by visiting our website and completing any inquiry form. In summary, you should use Find UK Property to buy your investment property because of all of these reasons which we have discussed in this video. We offer the best investment properties at the lowest prices and are fully accredited and experienced family business that provides excellent customer service. Please continue watching the next section, section 4, about all of the practical steps involved in selecting and acquiring an investment property from us. We will go through 10 key steps in the whole process, all listed here. The first step is to read the information on our website and watch this video. Also understand that we are offering a long-term investment solution, not just a property. If you're looking for a property purely for own use or in a specific location, or are looking to buy now and resell quickly, then our package is not suitable for you. We work differently and follow a very structured process as detailed in this video, and if you're not able to follow this, then it may be best for you to buy in the open market from normal estate agents. We can still provide free advice and guidance, and we may benefit as you may refer someone in the future for whom our system is suitable. What we offer is a complete long-term investment solution. Our clients buy the property as passive investors and continue to get long-term guaranteed income and capital growth in value. They do not need to do anything. We look after the property for the long term, keeping it in a good condition so that we can continue to attract good tenants. The latest version of this chart on our website shows the latest pricing with 8 types of properties from H1 to H8. There are also other subtypes not shown here which may be available at time of selection. For example, some properties in Lancashire are designated type H2L or type H3L because they are slightly more expensive with proportional higher rents. The purchase cost of $999 include all the solicitor's cost, local searches and land registry costs, plus property buildings insurance for the first year. This is normally around £100 per year and is the only cost clients pay each year after the first year. We normally deduct this from the rent. 3% stamp duty is payable if you already own another property, or if it's a company purchase, even if it's a first property. Additional 2% non-resident stamp duty is payable for all clients who are not UK resident. With regards to payments, you pay £3,000 out of the total price for reservation payment after signing the agreement, and then the rest is paid after you have selected the property and just before purchase completion. These reservation funds do not come to us but stay in the client account. The reason we ask for them is because demand is in excess of supply, and we only wish to take serious reservations that will proceed with a purchase. At the time of making this video, our best-selling type H3 large 2-bedroom house costs $78,999 plus $999 purchase fee. Assuming no stamp duty, the total cost is thus just under $80,000 at $79,998. £3,000 of this is paid at reservation, and the remaining $76,998 after property selection and just before purchase completion. The next step, once you have reviewed the information on our website and watched this video, is to complete any of the inquiry forms. Simply click the brochure link, enter your email, and complete the information about your requirements, and then click send. You can read the information on the thank you page. You will also get an email with further information, including a short property brochure and all of the links to the BBC videos. Check your junk or spam folder, as often emails go there. One of our sales team will also call you to answer any further questions and discuss your requirements and timeline. Once you decide to progress with your inquiry, we will need to follow the UK AML regulations to identify you. You can provide your passport copy and address ID, and these will be kept confidential and secure. Without this basic ID information, we cannot legally progress any further. If they are joint buyers, for example husband and wife, then we need passport copies of both. For company purchases, we need company details and ID of 2 directors. You can tell us your provisional requirements, which can be amended later, and we can email you a draft reservation agreement and full terms of any possible purchase. The agreement is the same for all purchases. One of the pages will show details of an example H2 or H3 type of property, but the agreement is only finalised after the actual property selection, which happens several weeks after reservation. The agreement is updated after the specific property is selected, which can be of any type or subtype. At this initial stage, you don't need to sign anything yet. This is just for your information so that you can see the full terms before you decide to arrange a video meeting or progress with your inquiry. Reading this beforehand, before the video meeting, will also enable you to ask the right questions at the meeting. Now, most clients have a meeting before they make a reservation. These days, it is most convenient to have a video meeting. Your sales consultant will arrange this with either myself or my daughter Sadia or another senior consultant. We will explain how we work and the details of the buying process and answer all of your questions. Let us know the best times for the meeting and we will send you a Zoom video link. You can click the link and you'll be able to see us. It is best to arrange the meetings after you have received the agreements and made a list of questions. If you wish to visit, it's best to do this after the video meeting and before the reservation. We will need to book this well in advance. You won't be able to select any specific property at the visit, but it allows you to confirm what we have said in this video and gain more confidence with the company before you make any reservation. We used to do many visits, but since COVID-19, we do very few. The video meetings provide all of the information you need. After the video meeting, if clients are happy to proceed, they follow the reserve and select process to select the specific investment property. In the first stage, clients make a reservation by signing the agreement and emailing the signed agreement to us and making the reservation payment of £3,000 into the client account. These funds remain in the client account until property transfer and are deducted off the total price, so the final payment will be £3,000 less. Reservation fixes the price for the entire range to the prices that were prevalent at time of reservation and secures any special offers. However, we do not wish clients to make a reservation unless they are certain that this is what they want. Demand is higher than supply, and we wish to limit reservations to clients who want such a long-term investment package. We will certainly deliver on everything we say, and there is a full money-back guarantee if for any reason purchase completion does not happen. If you are unable to select a property, you can wait for the next property batch. Only once you're 100% happy with the selected property will that property be transferred to you. We emailed you the reservation payment receipt and also ask clients to complete further ID and permission forms in readiness for purchase completion. Now, most clients buy under their personal names or joint names, for example, husband and wife or parent and child. You can also set up a limited company which can then purchase the property. This is especially good if you intend to purchase a large number of properties. At the video meeting, we can discuss the pros and cons of each type of ownership and amend your reservation later if you wish to set up a company. Due to high demand, the second stage of the reserve and select process is normally a few weeks later, and we prioritize by reservation date order. So the sooner you reserve, the sooner you can select. Clients are asked if their final payment is ready, and if it is ready, then they're ready to select. And they are sent about 15 to 20 specific houses with spec sheets on each house, including detailed pictures and location maps. The list contains properties of different types, and the most important thing is that they are priced proportional to their investment returns. So clients can select the specific property according to their budget and preferences for location and looks, with the reassurance that any they select will deliver guaranteed rent and future value proportional to its price. When comparing prices with the open market, look at current for sale prices of similar well-renovated properties, not historical sold prices, which will be lower. Unlike others, our houses are well renovated, guaranteed, rented out to good tenants, and come with a long-term net guaranteed rent and maintenance package. You will see lower prices online, but when everything is taken into account, our properties represent better value overall for long-term investors. Sometimes, due to high demand, clients may select a property that is still under renovation. In such a case, as per the agreement, we guarantee to complete the renovation and renting out and provide full pictures after renovation. As previously explained, the properties in the list may already be rented out and located all over the north, hundreds of miles apart, so it is not practical to make visits during the selection process. Once clients are 100% happy with the selected properties, it is allocated to them and the agreement is amended accordingly, with the final pricing information relating to the actual selected property. The final payment is due after selection occurs, so if your funds are not ready, then you can ask to delay the selection. Clients use the facilitated buying process to get the selected property legally transferred to them. As explained before, the security of the legal transaction is guaranteed by the 3 contractual guarantees in the reservation agreement. These enable buyers to use this process with confidence and makes the property transfer process easy. Checks are done on the property searches, titles, ID and source of funds, and once everything is satisfactory, the purchase is ready to be completed. Prior to purchase completion, clients make the final payment, which is normally made to the same client account as the reservation payment. All the funds remain in the client account until purchase completion. Our companies only receive the funds into our business accounts after the client becomes the legal owner. Sometimes, as part of the AML process, the client may be asked to provide a further bank statement showing the funds of the final payment leaving their account. The purchase is completed normally about 4 weeks after property selection, and the client becomes the legal owner on the purchase completion date. Purchase completion summaries are provided at that time. After purchase completion, the property is registered at the land registry, and after registration, the official land registry title documents are provided together with a registration summary. Now, this is normally several months after completion, but any delays does not affect the clients in any way. They can also check their ownership directly with the land registry, which maintains an online register of property owners. After completion, our admin team asks you to provide your bank details for rent payments on a specified form and set you up for regular rent payments. The rent starts 1 month after the date of purchase completion and is paid into your own bank account in the UK or abroad at the end of each calendar quarter, that is 31st of March, 30th of June, 30th of September and 31st December. Quarterly payments like this reduce our admin costs and also reduce bank charges, especially for overseas clients. For clients not resident in the UK, we also make an application to HMRC on your behalf to get a non-resident reference number. Once we receive this number, the rent can then be paid without deduction of any tax. In such cases, the first rent payment may be delayed until we get the reference number from HMRC. The amount of rent actually paid does not change. This normally takes a month or 2 to get from HMRC. We also fully insure the property on your behalf, and the cost of this for the first year are covered in the purchase costs. We continue to manage and maintain your property under the net guaranteed rent system. In this system, we are effectively your tenants, and we agree to give you a regular guaranteed income and maintain the property at our cost. All issues relating to the property, including all repairs, tenant issues, or any other problems, are dealt by us. Your name will be at the land registry as owner, so you may sometimes receive correspondence from local authorities or others. Don't be alarmed by this. We will have copies of these already, but you can scan anything to us and we will deal with it at no cost to you. After 3 years, as default, we continue as per the terms of the net guaranteed rent system as stated in your agreement, and it gets renewed each year unless you cancel with 6 months notice. We have clients who have been on this system for over 15 years, and our clients believe this is a fair and sustainable system. As explained before, the baseline net guaranteed rent is actually 5%, but there's an extra 1% for the first 3 years, as our maintenance costs are less because properties are freshly renovated. Thus you get 6% of original property price per year, fixed for the first 3 years. After the first 3 years, the rent becomes 5% of original property price, but then it increases from the end of that calendar year in line with rent inflation. Thus every year thereafter, the net rent paid are reviewed at the end of each calendar year and are increased in line with the rental market. For clients who are not UK resident, we can also help you set up a simple UK will using a free template. and we can provide reference letters and ownership evidence for you to apply for a non-resident UK bank account when you next visit the UK, in case you wish to keep your rental income in the UK. Many of our clients also use our optional tax filing service. No income tax is payable in most cases if your total UK income is less than $12,570 per person per year. However, you still have to file an annual tax return within 10 months of the end of the tax year if you own any investment property in the UK. We have an optional service that can do this on your behalf. After the first 3 years, your agreement with us renews automatically each year, unless you give us 6 months notice to terminate. We expect that over 70% of our clients will never sell their properties. They will pass on to their children. Over the long term, the properties will grow in value and continue to give good net rental income. If you wish to resell, we can offer to buy back at the net price you would get by selling in the open market. Although you can sell yourself and you can use other agents, all of our clients normally sell the property back to us if they wish to resell, as we match the realistic net market price and we can buy back much more conveniently and much faster. So in summary, these are the practical steps involved, and you can get started now simply by completing the inquiry form and then later providing your ID information. If you're liking this video, please tap the like button and subscribe to the channel and get notifications of further videos. If you have funds available and can invest for the long term, then buying such an investment property in the UK is the best thing you can do. And the sooner you do it, the better it will be for you. Our unique service package means that your investment will be secure, you will get regular guaranteed income, and your property will grow over the long term. You will not need to do anything, as we will look after your property like it was our own, and there will be no additional or hidden costs. You can get more confidence in our company by watching the 5 BBC TV episodes that have been produced over the past 5 years. Those independently produced programs are very representative of who we are and what we do. If you do decide to purchase a property from us, then this will be a long-term win-win relationship. We are certain of 2 things. Firstly, we will deliver on everything we state in this video and on our website, and look after you for the long term. Secondly, from our experience with other clients, we are sure that you will bring us additional business, either repeat purchases in the future or referral of your contacts or friends. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it useful, then please tap the like button. In order to progress with this, please email us your ID information and we will send you a draft agreement and arrange a video meeting. Thank you and goodbye.